it felt really horrible to almost accept the fact that it wouldn't come back anyway, my hairline. I don't know. It's something I'm a lot more conscious of than probably should be, or was at least, until I started really shaving my head properly.
How did I react to losing my hair? Probably just like, looking in the mirror and a big sigh, like, oh, why is this happening to me? Like, how has this come back around to me? It almost feels like you're being punished for something, but I don't know what. That's how it made me feel.
When did I find out I was losing my hair? I think I was probably about 16 years old. For me, I've never had a particularly strong hairline, and it was always something I was really self conscious of, especially at that young age where your image felt like everything. And I really just didn't accept the fact that I kind of was losing my hairline. Um, it's got slowly receded a little bit more over the years, obviously as you'd expect. Um, it's not terrible, but it's something that I perceive a lot more.
I realised I was losing my hair when I was working at a hospitality job at like quite a well-known restaurant. Working as like in hospitality is very stressful, and I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I like to keep people happy, and at that time in that job, my job was to keep everyone 100% happy all the time, and that's just impossible. Like I was gonna fail. So sometimes I get upset during work, and I take that home with me. I get really stressed out. Uh, just being a waiter, like, gosh, what was I thinking? Uh, I started getting like patches of my hair fall out, but it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. Like I had like enough hair to cover it up. If that makes sense. Back then, I didn't really know what to do to save my hair. I did look on the internet like most people do, googled some things, found out about like certain drugs you can take, like I can't even say it right, but you know, um, I didn't, and initially I didn't really go for it. Uh, it was, I saw there was a bunch of side effects that you could get from taking these sort of drugs to stop your hair falling out, like what's a loss of libido, really low mood.
So, would I consider using Regain or some form of hair loss treatment now, medication? I think having experienced it myself, gone through that, I didn't really feel any better, and I think that for me was something that I didn't really want to push myself to do because I was almost clinging on to the fact that I'd not accepted that I was experiencing hair loss. And so nowadays, I don't think I would. Again, potentially in a few years, I might change my mind if my hairline did get worse, or I missed having that. Because at the minute, I quite like having the very short hair. I tried to never let the self confidence issues show, so I'd never really talked to anyone about. If anyone sort of asked, about how I'd perceive myself as a teenager, um, I'd have said some really horrible things about myself, and I think nowadays I'm at least a lot more honest because I was cruel. I was really cruel to myself growing up. I really wasn't honest. I was harsh. And I think growing up, you realise that there's really no reason to be. Everyone is who they are. You can't control your hair loss. You can't control what you look like, but what you can control is the kind of person you can be. And so I've always prided myself on being a good person rather than a good looking person. But I definitely had self confidence issues growing up that again, thankfully, I've grown out of.
So all that stuff I said I wouldn't try, I ended up trying it. Uh, I bought like a subscription service of finasteride, um, and I tried that, but there was loads of like the side effects I read about. They were all true. Like it affected my mood like really like aggressively. Like my mood swings were crazy. Um, I found like where it most impacted me was like my social skills. Like I was really anxious all the time, and especially when I was out with friends, I almost like just kind of wanted to retreat and withdraw and just like you know go home. I didn't want to be at any of these outings because of taking those medications.
My dad has no hair whatsoever, and he's part of the reason why I'm comfortable shaving my head. All the men on my dad's side are bald, so for me it almost feels like a little bit of a rite of passage. When I was quite young, I really wanted to shave my head to sort of accept that. And I think I was a lot more prepared when I was younger, when I had a slightly better hairline. And my mum and sister would always say, you know, don't do it, it'll look terrible on you. It's something that you shouldn't do. You'll regret it. And looking back now, I wish I'd done it sooner. It's something that has made me feel more confident in myself. It's made me feel more comfortable. There were times where I'd be constantly checking my fringe, like in my phone camera, just to make sure that it wasn't exposing my hairline. And so sort of taking that away and sort of presenting it as something that is just a part of me has made me feel a lot more confident in myself.
And for me, I used to love slicking back my hair. It made me feel more Italian or Sicilian, should I say. That sounds silly, but my dad, he's a Sicilian guy, traditional Sicilian guy. I grew up in southwest London, Surrey, so I wasn't necessarily always around like the heritage or like Italy. So for me, learning about Italy and Sicily and the culture, I did it through films, particularly The Godfather. Like you had people like Michael Corleone, stuff like that. You know, he used to slick his hair back, and when I was a teenager, I was like, oh, this is what like a strong guy looks like, a strong character. I thought that was a way, when I was younger, to sort of reflect that on me. Because you know, when you're young, you haven't really figured yourself out, so you try to put on a face of who you want to be when you're older, if that makes sense. When my hair started falling out, I was like, oh, I'm losing this sort of person that I've, you know, associated myself with for quite a long time. And it was worrying. I was worrying at the time. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to react or to process it. So it was hard, mentally.
Am I content with my current hairstyle and my current mental state? 100%. I think that, especially throughout lockdown, because I only really started shaving my head through lockdown, that was really what encouraged me to do it, because I wasn't really going outside. I was working from home full time. So for me, it was almost the perfect opportunity to try. And in what was really a horrible, horrible year, especially for my mental health, what I really sought comfort in the fact that I was finally comfortable in myself and in my own skin. So nowadays, my sort of mental health is a lot better. I am really, really happy at the minute, and I'm glad to say it.
So, am I happy for now with what I am, who I am? Yeah, I'm alright. Like, I've come to terms with it a little bit, but you know, ideally, you want to get back to a place where hair's back on your head. So, I don't know how to answer that. So, I'd say the best way to answer that is that I'm still trying to figure it out. I haven't got an answer. I think that's fine though, to be fair.